Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic, aka Railworks. As you can hear, I have a little bit more of a voice today. I don't feel as bad as I was a little bit ago, but still a little bit nasally. We'll see how it goes. So today we're going to be taking a look at the second most recent released from Victory Works, the most recent being their Krusty Boiler version of what we're about to look at. Pretty soon they'll be putting out a new another Pannier Tank pack, but seeing as that hasn't released, that makes this their second most released release right now. So this is the British Railways 9F 210 pack. Now, this is something I personally have been watching for a little bit. I just haven't been able to afford to pay for both packs just yet. But now I finally got to pick them up. I've been able. I'm going to go over them today. For any of us that have been around for a hot minute in TSC, will remember the old. I believe it was from IHH or IHH or RSC. I forget who did it, but there was a 9F pack from some years ago. And for a while, it was one of the largest steam locomotives we had in game. That pack has been quote-unquote reworked by DTG at some point, and they re-released it on Steam. It's a dated pack. There's no way around it. It is a very old, very dated pack that really shows its age. Steam Sound Supreme had done a upgrade pack for that particular model, and it helped, but it's still an old model by literally every standard. So Victory Works just went ahead and scratch built an entirely new model, and that is what we have sitting here in front of us, or at least some of them. This is actually going to be my first time running this pack. This is the first time I'm fiddling with this pack, and as such I only put 3 locomotives down, as Victory Works models are really notorious for giving me out of memory errors. So I didn't want to place a bunch of them down and have to go through the whole start it up, reload the game, rinse, repeat over and over, trying to get an idea on how many I could have down. So I just placed 3. 3's typically the okay number to have. So unfortunately, we won't be looking at the entire pack, each and every single version, but just know that the pack is way bigger than what you see right here in front of you. This is merely a little kind of dabble. There is also another pack that they released relatively recently that goes hand in hand with this pack, which is the Krusty Boilered 9Fs. I do not have those down here. I intend to look at those after this pack, as technically speaking they are a separate pack. They are not a standalone pack. You do actually need this core pack to use that pack. However, it is still a separate pack. It is still kind of its own special thing, so I'm going to save it for a different video. So if you were hoping to see the Krusty Boilers, you'll have to wait for my next video, because this is just the plain 9Fs. Now, somebody might have said, well, what is that? Well, this is a Krusty Boiler that is included in the original pack, but this is the revision, or the rebuild model. So the Krusties, just a little bit of history to get it out of the way, but the Krusties are a experiment on the 9Fs that were done and found to be unsatisfactory, and as such were, I believe all of them were rebuilt. However, most of the rebuilds ended up retaining some of their interesting, noticeable notable appearances, such as the wacky boiler design and the exhaust that is back here. We'll go over a little bit of that in a minute, just to kind of explain what this model is in particular, but we're not quite there yet. So, you are going to get, in this pack, you are going to get a plethora of the BR Black, as that is the scheme that the majority of the 9Fs wore during their operational service. You're going to get them in various periods with different things that have been changed on them throughout the years. You'll also get the preserved numbers. So history-wise, I believe there are something like 9 of these preserved. That almost doesn't sound right. 9F. No, it is right. There are 9 preserved. Well, that's ironic. So you will get all of the preserved locomotives, as well as their appearance in operation and their appearance in preservation. You will get the various tender designs throughout the years for each locomotive. Now these are pure blood BR locomotives. They were built for British Railways. Historically speaking, these are the last standardized locomotive design for British Railways. And they were built in the 1950s, intended for use on fast, heavy freight trains over long distances. And it accomplished that very well. And they actually proved to perform quite well on passenger services too. So it's considered one of Britain's most successful steam locomotive designs. They're 2-cylinder, I do believe. Scrolling through my notes. Yeah. 2-cylinder locomotives. At about a top speed of around 90 miles an hour, and they are powerhouses. The last of the class is the 92-22-0 Evening Star, which was preserved as well. I believe it was the only locomotive of the class to have originally wore the BR green. I don't know if any of the other locomotives have worn the BR green since, but I'm pretty sure that it was the only one to, from the factory, have worn the BR Brunswick green, I believe is what it's called. Now here we have definitely not Evening Star, but it is green. That's okay. I also have Black Prince over here, which I do believe is a currently operational locomotive. Now, as is pretty typical of Victory Works, things can be modified on these locomotives. I have shown it in many of my other videos with Victory Works and Smokebox and so who else? I think Boss Man Games, Mike Wiley, a handful of model developers use that system where when you place these down in a scenario, you double click it, you get the little slide out over here on the right with a list of numbers, symbols, letters, and such, which will allow you to change various things along the locomotive. Different details, such as the nameplate, can be changed around that way. I do not have a manual pulled up here in front of me, so I do not know what all can be changed. Just do know that you can go through and change them out. So let's get up close onto it. I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing me talk. And up close, these do have Victory Works' very typical level of quality, which is pretty freaking nice. Overall, they tend to do really, really, really good with their modeling. Lots of 3D details. Texturing is pretty decent overall. Logos are nice and legible. Lettering's nice and legible. Lines are crispy, straight, not fuzzy. Not entirely sold on the copper texture here. I think that could be better. Love their nameplate. Looks pretty darn good. That's just overall a really good looking model. Now you will also get some tank cars in the pack. What they are, I have no idea. I definitely didn't read what they were. I 100% did not realize that these came with the pack. Alright looking. I'm not really sold on this weathered texture look. I think it's kind of blurry, kind of low res. It's just kind of meh. But the cars themselves look pretty darn good. Now there are two. There's an A and a B type car. What the difference is I really don't know. It's kind of entertaining with these Bluetooth couplers here though. Currently attached to a whole lot of nothing. That'll happen up here on the locomotive too? It sure does. How about locomotive to locomotive? Yeah, the locomotive. So the locomotives are coupled to each other, but locomotive to freight car, not so much. Oh, interesting. Oh well. Now obviously you'll get the majority of your locomotives are going to look just like this, nice dark black. But unlike the old IHH model, the black texturing actually looks really good this time. You can see the finer details of the locomotive, which I get it. Dealing with all black can be a pain in the butt, but black does have a noticeable tendency to end up blurring out and hiding a lot of detail and whatnot. So kudos to their work here, because you can still see a lot of the finer detailing and it does look quite nice. Oh, the weathering, never been too big on weathering. Weathering very rarely turns out the way I think it could be on a game. Now this is the Krusty rebuild. This was built to be a Krusty experiment and then was rebuilt later on. This is included with the pack. Very odd locomotive with a very odd design. But I don't want to spoil the Krusty video, so I'm not going to really dive too much into the Krusty locomotive here. Just know you do get it, and it looks pretty good. So let's take it for a spin. Now these are advanced locomotives. Something pretty common Victory Works these days. They're advanced models, but you do have the option to make them simple. Also, with a lot of Victory Works models, for some reason they don't show you a hand to show you what you can fiddle with and what you can't. You just kind of got to click on things and figure it out. So like these windows, can't play with, can play with that. Don't guess we get a front window. Huh. We don't get the cab either. Well, that's a wacky one to have missed out for them. They're typically pretty good about letting us open these. Oh well. Let's see. Handbrake. Water scoop. Fireman shovel. This is one of those things I love about a lot of Victory Works models, is they make firing without a hood very, very easy. Your fire will build up. It will change colors depending on the weight level. So it is much, much easier to operate Victory Works models without a HUD. It's, in my opinion, really nice. Let's see. Got our ATC acknowledgement. We don't get that. Should be the top half of our throttle, which is small ejector, large ejector. The E key for your reverser brake. Cool. Should be our brake brakes, train brakes. Blowers, sanders. I think we got enough of a fire for what we're doing. Let's see, dampers, front and rear. Hop over here to the fireman side. Injectors. What's this? Whistle? Oh, what an odd spot for the whistle. Just clicking around right now, seeing what it'll let me fiddle with. I'm really surprised that we can't open the roof here. That is kind of disappointing. That's a helpful thing for lighting. Also kind of surprised we can't turn this on. That would make a good cab light as well. That's an issue I always have with a lot of British models. You can't see in the dark without running with the firebox open. Well, water valves. Should start pouring water out. Sure does. Now, these Victory Works models are a little tricky to fill your boilers up. So whenever when you go to do it, you have to open this all the way. So this is your injector for exhaust. Come over here to exhaust. That's too much. Might not work. Might have changed that. Huh. There was a point where you had to play with your injectors, get them to just the right sweet spot to actually take water. Let's hop to the outside and see if our reverse gear works. Of course, it'd be on the dark side. Oh, that's unfortunate. It makes a sound, but it doesn't actually move your reverse gear. Well, that's sad. I feel like that should be a standard thing on models now. Also, where's our cylinder cocks? There they are. Forward is closed, so back is open. So you spawn in with your cylinder cocks open. Open our ejectors here. Spill off our brakes. Spacebar whistle. Control spacebar whistle. Wow. Kind of surprised that's all you get for a whistle. Of course, the H key, Shift H to turn your headlights on, off. Control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Oh, Control 8 will change your figurehead there. Control 7 will change your tender logo. Control 6, we don't know. That's cool. That's surprised you can't open the back doors either. The back little gates. Oh. Yeah, we're going fast. This is technically a heritage map from the Steam Workshop. I forget what it's called, but speed limit is 25. Oh well. Oh, I'm kind of surprised. So Steam Sound Supreme had a big help in, or a big hand in helping VictoryWorks with the sounds on this pack. I'm kind of surprised there's no real sounds to these freight cars. Yeah, there's really nothing with these freight cars. That's kind of wild. Overall, it does seem to run pretty good. Seems to look good, run smooth. The exhaust doesn't look half bad. It's not my favorite. I think I've seen better exhaust done, and honestly, at least it's not Minecraft squares, but seems almost too fluid. Too, I don't think that's really the word. Oh goodness, what happened? There we go. Idle sounds pretty nice. I'm not a fan of the headlights either. I think the headlights could be better. It's just not... It's not really a glow. It's not much of anything. It's just kind of white dots. Overall it does sound really, really good, and it runs really, really nicely. Pretty typical of Victoryworks and Steam Sound Supreme here. Steam Sound Supreme, I do believe, did most of the sound work for this model, and they almost always do really, really nicely with their sound work. So sound-wise, I think it's pretty good. I think it sounds pretty decent. Sounds pretty nice. I do kind of wish that the main whistle was playable by the player rather than being set tunes. Such is life, I guess. It's not a huge issue, but I am curious. Does the brakes? They do sound nice, though. Oh well. Yeah, I don't want to see that. That's an old-looking old car. But yeah, there it is, guys. The latest from Victoryworks, latest model from Victoryworks, to being the 9F210O. Available through Steam Sound Supreme's website. As always, link in the description. I recommend checking it out. I think it's pretty good. Victoryworks tends to do a pretty good job on their models overall. And this is an excellent replacement for the old 9F that has been on Steam for forever. So definitely go check it out if you're a fan of preserved modern preserved locomotives or big heavy British rail locomotives. It's an absolute must-have pack. I think it's pretty neat. I honestly think it was worth the money. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.